all roads leads into tomorrow's game as our women are hoping to make us proud as they play their first game tomorrow against Cameroon. Hopefully they will deliver the results that we are expecting, because we've always been praising to say the women's national team has been doing us proud, and like what we've been seeing of late. But anyway, welcome to Off the Pitch. I'm your host Amos, aka Amore, and I'm not alone on set. I'm joined by Uncle Rapson and Augustine. Uncle Rapson, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Amos, and it's nice to be back again on a Saturday, bright Saturday, with all hopes, with our ladies out there. To our dear viewers who are joining us, very warm welcome to all of you that are tuned in to this show to listen to nothing but the best of what we are going to be discussing with regards to Zambian football, as well as the current tournament which is ongoing.
Augustine.
Thank you very much, Amos. We turn out the glory and honor to the Most High God. Good morning to all our viewers out there. It's always a pleasure to be on set. We're looking forward to the start of the Africa Cup of Nations tomorrow. Zambia takes on the mighty Cameroon, and it's going to be an
not that Zambia, the mighty Zambia takes on Cameroon.
The mighty Cameroon takes on Zambia.
I'm also wants it the opposite way.
No. You see, I'm just trying to build that morale so that our fellow fans out there can feel the hype that the Zambian ladies are going to make us proud.
The two biggest teams in the group meet tomorrow.
Yes. That's better. That's better.
But that's a glimpse of what we are going to discuss on the show today. But for now, we'll just take a quick break and we'll be right back on the other side.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet Channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
We testify. We celebrate. For all you've done, Lord, we give you all the praise. Oh, we testify. We celebrate. Oh, for all you've done, Lord, we give you all the praise.
The mighty Zambia, as Uncle Rapson has put it, say they are playing Cameroon tomorrow. But we don't know who is mighty, and Augustine has simplified it to say the big teams in the groups are meeting, are meeting tomorrow in the game that we'll see Zambia playing its first game. But anyway, let's take a look at the game that we played, maybe a friendly that we had against Uganda, where we were hammered 5-0.
Very bad result. As going into our first game against Cameroon. Uganda are a very good side when it comes to women's football. They have been very organized in recent years. They have been growing steadily, just like we have been doing, and it was a very good result in the sense that it exposed our weaknesses going into the tournament. Defensively, we didn't look good at all. Going forward, offensively, we didn't have a lot of ideas, especially in the final third when we were in possession of the ball. A lot of youngsters were given a chance to play, and you would see that these girls will only learn and get better. And it was a very good outing for the Shipolo Polo. It gave the coach some extra things to think about, because most times when you are going into a tournament of such magnitude and you win all your friendlies, you win the qualifiers, you always think that you are in a very good position. But that friendly clearly exposed our weaknesses, which is probably in central midfield, where I feel like we are a bit we are found wanting in central midfield because we do not have a natural holding midfielder who will be protecting that back four. We may have Mary Lombe. She's been very, very good for Red Arrows. She was Red Arrows top scorer last season, and she's played in that central role. Probably, if Bruce Mwape going into this crucial encounter against Cameroon could try and adjust and play as a deep line midfielder, probably it could help for the Chipolopolo. We've got a very, very tough task ahead of us, and that friendly was good for us to measure ourselves where we are as a team, and you would see that we are not 100% ready, but we are getting there.
Well, a good preparatory game, if you ask me, simply because we were coming from a very, very good victory, which Bruce Mwape and his technical bench were quick to say we are very ready for the tournament. Then we went into the last friendly against Uganda, where a few uncapped players were given an opportunity to showcase their skills, which was good because everybody needed to be at that level of preparations. We did that. We lost by 5-0 in that game. When you look at the midfield, the news that is also coming down our ears this morning is that Barbara Banda will not be part of the team. We have also got two players, I think it's Ochumba who's suspended for the first game. A very, very difficult match in our group, Augustine, to have a player, I mean a player of Barbara Banda's caliber not participating, two of our very good midfielders not being part of the team against Cameroon. I wish Cameroon was the last game in our group. But nevertheless, it being the first game in our group, I'm sure even Cameroon out there, they've also got a couple of casualties when it comes to medical issues from CAF as well. I think two of their players are also affected, if I'm not mistaken. It gives us a chance where we are going to go head to head with Cameroon also thinking the Chipolopolo are probably on the rise when it comes to development of the ladies' game back home in Zambia and at national level. I think we are developing very, very well. That should send some shivers into the Cameroonians as they prepare for the game tomorrow. So for me, really, it's somehow good to start with a very strong team. Reason being, they are also not comfortable to face us. That's the most important thing. So it's up to our players to be psyched in such a way that they should also feel that level of respect, that they are being given respect by their opponents, because it's not an easy game anyway. I know it's very tough, and probably we should just go for damage limitation and avoid an embarrassing scoreline. So for me, if we can get a point out of that first game, then I would have known that the World Cup door is actually about to open.
But let's look at the way these rules that have come in. Maybe we won't discuss much of this because maybe these are just still rumors of these ladies that are about to miss the likes of our own Barbara Banda. In some of
you can just go through them.
Okay, let me just go on, but the names though.
That's the reason why I was asking you the pronunciation of such names. Yeah.
We've got the likes of Barbara Banda, but there are other players as well. Like you say, Dangorapson, Cameroon won't be with one of their players as well. But why bringing in such rules when the tournament is about to begin?
Well, for me, these are not new rules. These rules have been there, and I think these are the rules that were set way back. And if we had a very, very good technical team, and when I say technical team, starting from everybody who is involved in ladies football, we were going to avoid this problem. Because this problem is a problem where CAF has always notified the teams with players who are falling in that category. So it was up to our medical team, our technical team, to prepare the team in such a way that such misunderstandings or such mistimings of adhering to CAF regulations, we could have avoided that. We could have avoided that. But the most important thing, we are not going to go into details like you have said, but the most important thing is that this is not new, Amos. It's something that we knew as early as February. Something that we knew exists. And this doesn't only happen in football. It is also happening in other athletics. There's athletics. You find that a lot of players, a lot of players are affected. Either players of soccer, athletes, boxers. It's affecting everybody. So it's something that is known, including boxers.
But just to add on, I think it's something which is not very, very new. But I felt CAF would have been a little bit relaxed with the same rules, because it applies in all areas of football. Starting with the males football, I think they do go through a couple of tests before playing football. We see this even at the under 17 level. There is what they do is the MRI scan. Yeah, they go through processes. For each tournament has got these specific rules. Like for the under 17, if you are over 17 years, you can't play in that tournament. You have to go through those processes as well. And for the ladies as well, they've got this process which they go through. From what we get from CAF is that they do not want other ladies to have an advantage over the others. Yeah, so it's as
not just ladies, including the under 17.
Exactly.
Someone who's 17 and a half years should not have an advantage over somebody who's 16.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept.
It's the same concept. It's more like what we do with drug testing. There are people who take in the performance enhancing drugs, and they will have an edge over the other. But for women's football, I feel to me it's a little bit harsh, because these people do not choose to be the way they are.
Yeah.
So CAF should try and relax the rules and try and find a way where we can have all the women participating. It's very, very sad for these ladies that have worked very hard for so many years to reach this big stage and only miss out because of some rules. I think to me, CAF should relax their rules in the near future.
Now you understand why you have top scorer.
The problem with Africa, is that we love to copy and paste. This is probably something which was done in Europe, and then Africa just adopted it without even going through every little detail. I think to me,
this one has always been there.
It has always been there, but we
of course,
just copy and paste from Europe. Let's have
including football. Did you start your own football?
No, we didn't, but let's have our own rules. We do not have the same rules as Europe, do we?
No.
So we need to try and
I hear you.
If you look at the backgrounds of these ladies, where they come from, they've worked very hard to reach where they have reached. If you look at the setup, Africans set up, your parents will not be allowing you to go and play football. You have to do some other things. But they have forced their way. They have worked very, very hard, and they deserve a chance to play at the tournament.
Okay, maybe.
Let's look at it in this aspect and corruption. Let's look at how these players, maybe the exclusion of these players, affect their squads. Because when we look at the likes of Botswana, who are just debutants, maybe they'll be likely to be without their prized, it's even written, prized asset of Lesego.
You see, like I'll speak in line with what Augustine has said with regards to CAF and how they should have managed the situation. From my end, I will start from the very beginning. These ladies who have found themselves on this list of not participating, the question I have is, weren't they the same ones who were playing qualifiers? They are the same players who made their countries qualify to this tournament. Then at this point, then now you should say these rules are going to apply, and once we apply them, these players will not be part of the squad. Remember that these people have been preparing for this tournament, and their eyes and their focus is on the World Cup. So now you are denying them an opportunity to take their countries to the World Cup. But in the past, these are the same players that have been doing their best and making their countries qualify. The case of Botswana, that lady who's been excluded from the team, I doubt if Botswana is even going to be very, very effective. That lady has been very, very, very efficient when it comes to her contribution to the women's national soccer team.
Just for argument's sake, is that one prestigious and big tournament like the Olympics, these players were allowed. They went and featured at the Olympics. What's so special about the Africa Cup of Nations?
No, that time they were okay.
But what happened?
Yes.
The Cup is just trying to be funny with how they're doing it.
Okay.
Okay, but how will this affect the clubs that they play for?
For clubs, I think the rules
are different.
The rules are different.
Yeah.
You see, Nanda Augustine is saying there is a lot to this.
Okay, let's proceed and let's look at tomorrow's game. Zambia is playing
tomorrow
against the mighty Cameroon.
Yes, we are putting it at the 50-50, or maybe
our
have
50
an upper hand.
Yeah.
Because looking at us coming from a bashing of 5 goals to nil.
That's a friendly.
Yeah?
You see, sometimes football is very psychological, Amos. It is also very possible that Coach Bruce decided to field the squad that is going to lose. Why? Because he wants Cameroon to be very comfortable. That these are the guys who lost by 5-0. So when we are meeting them, we'll be able to brush them aside also by about a similar margin. But well, the game is different. It's a game of 90 minutes. It's a game of 11 against 11. And I think when you look at how Faz has prepared the team, I think administratively, fantastic preparations, fantastic friendly games, with very, very strong sides, by the way, the preparatory games that the ladies have been going through. And I think it's just important that they remain focused. And for me, if you ask me, I'm only hoping that Barbara is going to remain with the team there. She needs to be part of the team. She needs to encourage the young girls to play football. She needs to encourage the team to just rise to the occasion, and looking forward to that positive result tomorrow as we face Cameroon.
Augustine.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very crucial encounter tomorrow against Cameroon. We're going to the game as underdogs that we cannot run away from, but we need to...
What is below the dogs?
I think it's the grass which will suffer.
I think so.
Because if you look at our current crop of players, it's not a group of players who are inexperienced when it comes to these levels of tournaments. We've had Ezonale. She's been part of the team which has played Africa Cup of Nations. The first time which we qualified was in 2014 as a country. 2018 she was also part of the setup, and this time around this is her third Africa Cup. We've got experienced players like Martha Tembo of Green Buffaloes. She's been a very, very consistent feature in that Polo squad, together with Margaret Bulem. These have been our fullbacks, starting from the under-17 level up to the senior team level. And I think Lucio Momwemba, if she's fit tomorrow, she will be a very, very important piece to Zambian's setup, because she's very, very solid at the back. She organizes the team very well. She's confident on the ball, and we like to build from the back, and we need her in our lineup. Going forward, I think, to me, we need to try and have a very, very solid structure, especially when we lose the ball. We play a little bit open football most times. That's the reason why when we lose heavily, because we play open football. We are playing against a Cameroon side which has played the Africa Cup final and lost to Nigeria. They have got a lot of experience, and they'll bring it to this tournament.
Even the sizes, the body sizes.
Yeah, even the body size. I think, to me, there are a lot of factors that we are going into this game. We've got promising young talents like Evelyn Katongo, Maweta. These are young girls that are fearless. They would like to take on people, but for games like of this magnitude, I think, to me, it will be a little bit bigger for them, because it's the first time that they're playing at this big stage level, and we cannot use both of them. So the coach needs to be very, very smart in his selection. He needs to start one of the two, because if you go with the two young ladies in this big encounter, it might be just too big for them. And Mary Wilombe, like I had said earlier, will be very, very key. She has got the experience. She was part of the team at the Costa Rica World Cup in 2017 when we qualified. So we have built very well in recent years to reach where we have reached, and the kind of players that we have in our arsenal. We are going to go without Ochumba Oseke, very, very important striker in Bruce Mwape's setup. Playing against a physical side like Cameroon, it would have suited Ochumba Oseke. She's physically big and she's strong. She could have played a very, very key role to try and bring Grace Chanda into the game. Grace Chanda, very, very prolific, scored 8 goals in the qualifiers, and she's going into this tournament playing in a different country. She's now a foreign-based player. She has gained that experience. And it will try and help us to get over the line. It's going to be a very, very key game. We've got players like Irene Lungo of Green Buffaloes. Those were probably the most entertaining young talents we had, together with Barbara Banda, when they are coming up in the under-17, and she's been very, very consistent with her performances. Injuries have done her bad at some point, but she's come back good, and she may be that the experience that we may need going into the game against Cameroon. It's going to be very, very tough. we do not need to go and lose with a quick scoreline in such an encounter, because it will dampen our morale into the two games where we see it 6 points, possibilities of us
Of getting the 6 points,
getting
yeah.
points. It's against Tunisia, debutant, Togo, a debutant, and I feel if we can put up a very, very solid and decent performance against Cameroon, it will just catapult us to the next level to go and get these 6
maximum
points
points.
against Tunisia and Togo.
Anyway, as we wind up here, just maybe some of the quick ones. We've got bigger names here. We've got Nigeria, who is the record holder with 11 titles, and we have the second highest African team on the FIFA ranking, which is Senegal. And we've got South Africa, who have been the runners-up 5 times, and Zambia, who competed at the Olympic Games last year. So hopefully may the best team win, and that corruption is already saying we'll find ourselves at the World Cup. For now, we'll just take a very short break as we get back and look at other items that made the sports headlines this week.
Oh, we testify, we celebrate.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet Channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay
We
tuned.
testify, we celebrate. For all you've done, Lord, we give you all the praise. Oh, we testify, we celebrate. Oh, Lord, we give you all the praise.
They were not there when God created you. The Bible says, I knew you before I placed you in your mother's womb.
Apples and bananas. Work and wait, and this what you've been praying for.
Last week Saturday we had one coach, Perry Mutapa, who is the Napsa Stars coach, and within the course of this week we saw Napsa Stars releasing about 7 players, and maybe just a quick one on corruption as we come and look at other teams that are making maybe transfers of late. But Napsa Stars managed to release about 7 players. We had Amos Mwanza, defender, Laudi Mavugo, striker, Joseph Marambwa, midfielder, Victor Mulenga, defender, Kondwani Piri, defender, Emmanuel Mpasi, goalkeeper, and Kenan Piri, who is a striker. And corruption of late, I think last season, you were in charge of monitoring Napsa Stars on most of the games. Are these players worthy of losing?
100%. If you look at their contributions last season,
Next to 0.
I was about to, if not negative, if it's that goalkeeper the entire season, he didn't make any squad.
I was even surprised to learn that Mavugo is still at NAPSA.
Roddick, no, he played one game last season, I think one.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not surprising. Biggest loser there, most experienced is Amos Mwanza. Probably age is catching up. He has done what he has done best. He's a former Nkana player. He's played a couple of games in this Premier League, and I think his experience and what Perry's pace and plans are, probably it's not starting. So he's been released probably because he's probably age is catching up, and he has to give chance to the young ones. Notable amongst those is Joseph Mulambwa. He's the only player who probably played a couple of games last season, but even his contributions in those games that I watched, there was one game where if I was Coach Perry, about 2 or 3 games, I would have taken him off after putting him on, because he's a player who probably contributed. You know, when you are making a change, it's a change that should make a difference
in the game.
When you make a change and people start, before you even ask yourself, you are watching, now you are trying to regret whether the guy that you've taken off was actually better than the one that you are putting in. That is the situation where that midfielder was in, and I think for me, generally, in summary, that list NAPSA Stars has thrown out there is not surprising at all. And for me, they haven't made any changes to the team. I can completely say they haven't made any changes to the team, because these are not players who added any value last season. They are players, yes, they added value. They were part of the statistics. They won gold medal. They won medals for ABSA. But the question is NAPSA Stars going to miss their services? It's probably close to zero. Yes, they will be missed. They are human beings. They were loved. They became part of the family. They will be missed by the players. But I think generally from where we are sitting, we watch the games. These are players that I can say probably they were not anywhere near the NAPSA Stars team last season. So it's not surprising that they are leaving. And all eyes is set on the players that they are trying to bring in. A couple of names have been rumored to join NAPSA Stars, and we are yet to get the confirmation of those particular the players that will be joining NAPSA Stars. Teams are very busy. If you've seen how the preseason is, teams are very busy, and I think NAPSA Stars is taking it easy on the market. They have only announced one player who was recalled on loan from Zesco United. That's Dixon Chapa. There is no other new player who has been unveiled. Busiest on the market has been Zesco United and Red.
We spoke of Red Arrows, I think, when we went on a break, where Rapson was saying the loss of is it Tresa Shibwabwa and Tresor. Someone who I think in the past shows you said he was
the best defender last season.
For last season.
Yeah. I would give him that.
You said he was the best player at Red Arrows. But how is Red
No, he wasn't the best player at Red Arrows. He was the best defender at Red Arrows.
He was the best player in the league. I do not.
So if you can't,
I do not think there was.
It's the department. He was the best in the department he was playing.
I do not think there was anyone better. Tresor Shibwabwa, out of the 34 games last season, he played 33, missed one because of suspension, and he was always consistent in his performances in games and in between games. He was always consistent with his performances, and he's a very, very big loss for Red Arrows. That we must mention.
I totally agree with him, to be honest. Tresor, I consistently watched his consistent performances. Consistently. Throughout the season. So I think for me it's a very big loss to Red Arrows. Very big loss. My thinking was, if he had stayed a little longer, participate in the continental games, just a bit in those games, he would have probably added a lot of value to his price tag. And clubs like he's at Sekukune.
Yes.
He would have probably found a bigger and stronger. I know Sekukune is becoming big. It's a household name in SA. I think they are doing their best to assemble as many good players as possible for the coming season. And his departure to that club, it's good. He's gone there, but I think he would have added more value to his name and his CV had he participated with Red Arrows in continental games.
Augustine.
I think it was a situation where Sekekume United came in with a very big offer for Tresor Shibwabwa. and Trezor could not resist, because I think he saw it as a very, very good opportunity to go to South Africa and
Needed to get a visa.
yeah, something. No. But it was a very, very good offer on the table for Trezor, and I felt it was time that he left Red Arrows and move on. But he has left a very, very big gap for Red Arrows. But if you look at Red Arrows last season, he was always being paired with either Alan Kapila, Nixon Muwili, or Elvis Bisson. And Alan Kapila has grown into a player who has even now received the national team call-up. He will now take up that responsibility alongside one of the other defenders in Nixon Muwili, Elvis Bisson. Elvis Bisson was one of when this project started by Chisimbe, he was seen as him and Trezor Shipwapo as the guys that will be the backbone of Red Arrows in central defense. But injuries have done him very, very bad, and it has come to a situation whereby he has missed a lot of games during the season. But Red Arrows have strengthened in other areas, and central defense, they brought in a young defender, a promising young defender from Cafe Celtic. He doesn't have the much experience of playing at the highest level.
From where?
From Cafe Celtic. And
you mean these ones who are playing in Eden?
They were when Cafe Celtic got relegated, and we talked about it at the start of the season, and I gave reasons why I felt Cafe Celtic were going to be relegated, and the fact was that it was always going to be purely of lack of experience, because in games that Cafe Celtic would go to play for Rangers and would love to attack for Rangers, and in the end they get beat 4-0 because they are young players and they want to be adventurous. And if you look at the players that Red Arrows have got, believe you me, any other club in the Zambian setup who would have gone for these same players, because these players are promising young talent. Yes, they do not have the experience, and if we have to agree on one thing, it's not the brand of football that got Cafe Celtic relegated. It's the lack of experience which got Cafe Celtic relegated.
True,
but
true.
This group of young
even
players,
the games they were losing.
Exactly, but this group of young players are now going into a dressing room where they will now find quality and experience, which will only make them become better players in a near future. It might not be Red Arrows getting into the quarterfinals or semi-finals of the CAF Champions League, but it will help the squad into developing into the next step. You have to have in mind that Red Arrows do not have the biggest budget in Zambian football, so they have to make do with what they
Do they have any?
And they have been very, very smart. Sorry?
Oh, I was asking if they have a budget.
They do have a budget, but they were very, very smart
of getting relegated players.
How they went with their business and brought in these same relegated players. These same relegated players and the same players that will be beating Ghana next season at Roma Stadium. And if you look at their transfer business, my sources indicate that Codenade Luchanga might be closing in on a move to Red Arrows. Prison Leopard said Codenade Luchanga is not for sale, he's not going anywhere. He's got a contract up to 2023, but new development is that he might be closing in on a move to Red Arrows, which will be
breaking the bank.
Which will be an added advantage, because you will have the 5 top scorers from last season was Friday Samu, Albert Kangwanda, Ricky Banda, Codenade Luchanga, and Moses Piri, and Red Arrows, for them to have 3 of those players in their squad, it will be a very, very big boost.
Let's look at what Uncle Rapson has said. Zesco has been busy in the transfer market, where we've seen them getting Kapumbu joining his brother. So and another player who is
his brother Faxon.
We've seen Kelvin Kapumbu joining his brother there, and Zesco hasn't stopped from there. They are still doing their best, and we are seeing other teams strengthening. But let's look at how Zesco is doing their business so far.
Yeah, if you look at Zesco United's business, I think to me they have been very, very smart in how they have gone about their business. Probably it's all about bringing in local players, which is now the new direction that Zesco United want to take. They've brought in the young Lord Kembo, who was at Beauticon, very, very solid centre back. He's good when it comes to 1v1, and it will be a very, very big difference for Zesco United going into next season. They've brought in a young left back in Jacob Ngurube, who was very, very good starting with his time at Young Green Eagles when it comes to set pieces and attacking. You give Zesco United something different.
Okay.
Because if you look at Jacob Ngurube, realistically, looking at what he did at GBFC last season, GBFC had a poor second run, but he was one of their outstanding players.
And he was one of the people one of the players in that team that got the bad run of the second round.
Yes, he was part of
He was part of that team.
Yeah, one player cannot make a difference. That's
No. I'm discussing a team. He was in a team which didn't do well.
We're now trying to talk about the player that Jacob Zesco United have signed. They have not signed GBFC. They've signed Jacob Nguruve. And what does he bring to the table when it comes to attacking football? You give him that much needed width. He's going to put in crosses into a box that
Okay, to be
they will
honest,
need
to
a
be-
very, very
to be
good striker
honest.
to get on the end of crosses. Friday Sam did that at GBFC and he benefited a lot from Jacob Nguruve with his set plays. Jack Chilwa, Monga Chilimba scored from these boys good set pieces. But one thing that is not very good at is when it comes to 1v1, defending 1v1 and recoveries, he's not the best when it
I was
comes
actually
to
coming to that.
And it's something which probably will learn and get better because he's a rookie. They've signed Kizito Kezron from Beautycon, another good midfielder, probably a squad strengthening signing. Is not going to walk straight into that Zesco United lineup as compared to Kapumbu, who they got from Zanaco. Kapumbu comes in with a lot of experience playing at the highest level when it comes to African football. He's played the Champions League, he's played the CAF Confederations Cup, he's played the CHAN. He brings that wealth of experience to Zesco United in central midfield, and he's going to be the guy that will always break up opposition's attack. He's not the best when it comes to recycling the ball, but he worked very, very hard for the team, and he's going to be very, very key for Zesco United. They've news coming through today as Bwezanimbewe, my source, Kelvin Kampamba Muanga might be extending his stay for Zesco United, and if he does that, I feel to many Zesco United fans, it will feel like a very, very new signing because they were sweating, thinking of losing Kelvin Kampamba Muanga. How many players do you have in the Zambian setup that were?
I'm only hoping that they'll sort out the administrative issues and their relationships.
And they brought in, is it Munyachiwe? Yeah, who comes in with a lot of international experience, but he doesn't have any experience playing in the Zambian league, which is very, very physical.
He should have started at City of Lusaka. To help them come to gain experience from there. Okay, the biggest addition for me, amongst those that you mentioned, I think the versatility of one Kelvin Kapumbu in central midfield. That's one player who was stepping up in a situation where Zanaco Football Club gets depleted in defense. He would play 4-5. He would play as a centre back and he would be very, very effective. A couple of games in the second half of the season, last season, he was actually being dropped back strategically. He would start in midfield. If the team is not doing too good, they would introduce attacking players and drop him back. So that is a guy who's going to bring that necessary competition in midfield, and is one guy who can actually drop back and give that backup to the defense in an event of suspected red cards. So he's a very, very good addition, if you ask me, because they have lost Dixon Chapa, who was in total competition with one Donashano Malama in that midfield. So for me, that purchase of Kelvin, perfect for me. When you look at Rodri Kembo, I can only say well done to Zesco United Football Club for identifying that talent. That guy was a marvel to watch at Beautycon Football Club. Perfect addition. Coming back to the player that Augustine dwelled so much on, Nguruve. I have seen Nguruve being dribbled one-on-one a couple of times. He's very good at set pieces when he crosses that center line. He will throw in the much-needed crosses. But a situation where he has to defend one-on-one against a striker, believe you me, 85% of the times that I watched him, he was being beaten, clean and square. So the value that is bringing at that left back, there's competition anyway, so he needs to fight his way there. For me, you are not going to be a complete defender because you can cross the center line and put in the much needed crosses, the dangerous crosses in the box that will benefit the strikers. It's a good attribute to have, very perfect attribute, because every defender, every coach wants a player who can defend and attack and put in that dangerous cross to have that assist, the much needed assist. But again, on the other hand, if you are going to be attacked and be dribbled like Dominic Chanda was dribbled at Edwin Imboya Stadium a couple of times and consistently being dribbled, and you say that's a proper addition, we'll wait and see, Augustine. You and I will sit here and laugh when Nkana Football Club manages to destroy that Zesco United defense and the
Any new signings from Ghana so far?
Ghana, from what we are getting, is that they're closing in on Harry Kayula. Very, very good for Lusaka Dynamos last season. He would play as a right winger, as a left winger, and sometimes when the need arise, he would play as a fullback. Harry Kayula is a very, very intelligent young footballer.
Yeah.
He brings that energy and driving force if Nkana get him over the line. There's news that there's Lamine Musa as well, who is close to joining Ghana Football Club. All those from a relegated Lusaka Dynamos, we must add. It's interesting to see what Nkana do.
Embassy.
And
on Kapwe Celtic, we didn't discuss that.
and
No.
it was always discussed sometimes that they have signed players from a relegated Kapwe Celtic, and we are hearing that Ghana have interest in Chris Mugalu, the fire.
It's too expensive.
At the bartender.
Yeah, the fire tender. Is 1 million. 1 million.
It's too expensive. His
His
demands are too much.
To
For a 31-year-old player, he's asking for too
but
much.
he's a free agent and he's asking for a lot of money. I do not know if Ghana will manage to pay that much, because if you have to be realistic, as Ghana is a team which is trying to rebuild and get back to those high levels. Why should you give someone so much wages when you can try and bring?
You can break down that 100 pin.
Young
Yes.
players. Exactly. Let's
Of
give a good
Augustine's
example.
caliber.
Let's give a good example of the young Makombozi. He came to Ghana. He was very much unknown in the Zambian league, and look what he has
Perfect
done at Ghana.
defender.
So if Ghana can try and use that strategy to try and bring players that will try and improve the squad and become a powerhouse in Zambian football game.
Let's look at something that was written. Papa Patson Daka clocked a year and is only remaining with 4 years on his contract. How would you break down, looking at time, how would you break down his first season at the Fox?
It's been full of ups and downs, and I think his mental character has been very, very good to settle down in that high demanding team, because Leicester has been participating in Europe, in the European competitions, and to step up. And what gives me a lot of comfort in his 1 year is that majority of his goals were actually scored in European games. So when it comes to him settling down at that club, I think he's fairly done well, and I am only seeing better things in the second year, because now he's settled. That anxiety of wanting to play to the gallery is gone. That anxiety of saying, I'm now playing in the EPL, even his personal expectations, probably now he's more mature, he's more settled, he'll be more lethal, and thank God that the Vardis of this world are also going to the sunsets of their careers, so that competition is managed properly. I think he's going to have quite a bit of game time to just make a mark for the club.
Yeah, if you look at Leicester City's business, this transfer market, they haven't been linked to any strikers, meaning it's good news for Watson Daka. They're happy with what they have.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's one thing which you have to have in mind, because if Leicester City were not happy with what they have in the attacking area, they would have been linked with strikers. But that's not happening. Watson Daka had a very decent season last. His first season in the Premier League, a lot of question marks were surrounding him. What will he do when he goes into the Premier League? But he outscored most players. He outscored Alexander Lacazette, who has been performing every season in the Premier League. He was close to Romelu Lukaku, probably scored the same number of goals the entire season, if we add what the Patson Daka scored in Europe. And he was Leicester's top scorer in Europe. He's young, he's always willing to learn, he's always humble. What you get from Patson Daka is always giving you honest performances, and the Leicester fans have been very, very patient with him. First season fans are always very, very patient, but the second season
they'll be demanding.
Now they'll be expecting something from Patson Daka, and he needs to have consistency in his performances, and the coach needs to have faith in Patson Daka, especially in the Premier League. He has had faith in Patson Daka in European competitions, but he hasn't had faith in Patson Daka when it came to the Premier League. The coach needs to have faith in Patson Daka when it comes to the Premier League and try and play to his strength. And if you're a Patson Daka, I think to me you should also play to your strength, because sometimes in games last season I felt that he was doing things that he cannot do with his abilities, like coming deep to link others into play. That's not Patson Daka. Patson Daka is playing on the last defender's shoulders, making runs in behind. That's what Patson Daka does well, attacking the space in front of him and getting the goals for Leicester City. I predict this season he'll score probably 8 goals going up.
8 goals in the first
You
10
agree?
games. I totally agree with Augustine's sentiments. And that also gives us room to even look at the chance that Brighton is almost giving our very own Emmanuel Mwepu. Mwepu's participation at Brighton is looking very bright. Looking at the departure of what's that guy's name? That midfielder.
If Bissouma.
Bissouma is leaving. Yeah, so his departure to join a much more demanding Tottenham gives an opportunity to one Mwepu to become their main. We saw actually in the last few games that he was their main guy. When he came back from injury, he consistently played in that team, and it was unfortunate that towards the end I think he had a minor knock again, then he had to rest a bit. But I think the medical team, if they've really worked on him in this off-season, if he's going to come back fit at 100%, we see him playing games weekend after weekend, weekend after weekend, and creating those assists that he knows best. And probably he scored a beautiful goal against Liverpool last season, and hoping that he's going to replicate that kind of performance this season, so that we continue
Starting
building.
at Old Trafford, first game of the season.
No, that one they can't manage. You see, the problem is we like mixing lemons and oranges. You see,
When picky.
Brighton, my friend, Brighton and Man United, they are playing the first game. I think it's on the 6th of July. Is it August 6 or 7, that weekend. It will be very, very difficult for Brighton. You see, Ten Hag is a very, very good manager. And he's preparing the team very well.
Mark this day, Augustine. Huh?
Of
Mark
course,
this
of
day.
course.
Mark this day, Augustine.
You, Ten Hag is preparing that team.
Interesting enough, talking about Zambian players abroad, we saw Radi Walia complete his move from Simba. To Amazulu. Interestingly, one Zambian is moving.
It is coming out.
Who is Augustine Mlenga, and the other Zambian is coming in, who is Rally Walia. And we've seen Prince Mumba is being linked with a move to Europe. We wait to see how that unfolds during the coming week. Benson Sakala is off to Croatia, to Czech Republic. He's probably moving
He's
to another club.
crisscrossing.
He had a
short stint
in Czech Republic, and now he's moving to another club in Czech Republic. We saw GBFC strengthen during the window. They brought in Fano Maplanga, who was very, very...
They got half of Kafue Celtic.
They brought in Fano Maplanga, who was very, very good for Lusaka Dynamos last season.
Relegated Lusaka
Towards the
Dynamos.
very end, they relegated Lusaka Dynamos. And we want to see what business Zanaco does in the transfer market. It's interesting to see what exactly will Zanaco try and do, which areas are they trying to strengthen going into this
You see, for
transfer market.
Zanaco, I suspect, and let's not talk about it too, I suspect they are busy trying to make transfers at technical bench.
And
Instead of focusing on the team, on the players.
Clement Mulenga is closing in a move to Kawa Warriors, who will probably be George Luandamina's first signing at Kawa Warriors. It's another interesting project to see what George Luandamina does at Kawa Warriors, at a team which struggled.
And surprisingly, they brought Happy Chikoro back at Kawa
I was
Warriors.
very, very surprised with that appointment. That's how people for you, and we are seeing City of Lusaka wanting to have
Two head
Two
coaches.
head coaches.
It's interesting to see how that unfolds. And
Okay, who becomes superior? Who makes the call?
It may work if everyone understands their roles, like it has been working for Mamelodi Sundowns. They've got 3 head coaches at Mamelodi Sundowns, and it has worked very well for them. We do not know with
The
Zambian
soldier
football,
men.
the ego we have in Zambian football, whether the coaches work hand in hand.
Your final remarks, Angorapson.
It's final just now.
Yes.
Oh, Zito of Lusaka. My goodness.
Basop,
But Basop has to explain himself.
Mr. Mpande must be very worried as we speak. There is no way you are going to say you are going to bring a person at my level.
Okay, sorry to cut short. Yeah, it's encouraging remarks. But don't you think Mr. Mpande should be the one to pick someone to work with?
In fact, the way it should be, once you pick your head coach as a club, the next thing you do is allow the head coach to select a team that surrounds him. Because the philosophy that I want to pump in the team should be understood by my assistants. There is no way, okay, this one, I don't know whether it will be correct. What has happened at Cabo Warriors is total confusion. That one, you and I will talk about it when it comes to pass. You are not going to bring a coach who has a different philosophy in George Rwandamina. His experience is different. Then you bring, I know Happy Chikolo is also good, he's strong as an assistant. He's been an assistant throughout his life. He needs to change and become a head coach at some point. He needs to develop. But that kind of setup where you bring a player because of long service at a club, that guy played for Cabo Warriors for many years. So yes. So those are the players who resist change. Those are the coaches who resist change because they've been at that institution for too long. Anybody who brings a brilliant idea which needs to change, it's Simo Tinkarirabano.
That's not what we used to do.
No. Yes.
When we won the league.
So for me, the bottom line is when you appoint a head coach, allow the head coach to pick assistants, allow the head coach to govern his entire technical backroom staff. When you are firing, you even know that that Kabemba saying which says that umutu oworera yatinkoko isabi ukuvola ni kumutwe. It's exactly what should happen. When you are blaming me, blame me because I brought my assistant.
Not you are blaming.
You are blaming me.
Not my
This one is busy creating divisions in my team, but because I'm the head, I should be able to suffer. That shouldn't happen. Okay. And I'm only hoping that that works well for City of Lusaka. I know Alban Pande has had his own issues. He's one man who doesn't survive a season without red cards. So maybe it is good for him to be given a partner to work with at the same level with him.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Amos. It's been a pleasure being on set, and a big thanks to all the viewers that tuned in out there, and to everyone that has contributed on our Facebook platform. And a big thanks to the entire production team for making this possible. We'll see each other again next week.
This is where we say our bye-byes for now. You can stay glued to your TV sets because Katamanda is coming your way with a weekly gospel show. I've been your host, Amos, aka Amore. I'm out. See you next week.
Right.